Good evening, y'all. It is Tuesday, aka the best day of the week, because we are firing on all cylinders to be the best that we can. And on the campus of Northern, our athletes are always pushing themselves to be the best. But I talk about them a lot, so we're going to mix it up tonight. Let's learn about the man who leads the basketball team.
The Wildcats are back in full force for basketball. After a year full of restrictions, setbacks, and tough lessons, head coach Mtt Majkrzak led Northern to an 8-8 season. If you ask Coach, the record is exactly where the Wildcats need to be.
It was one of those, it was an odd year for everyone. We started late, didn't have our full practice time before the season started, and I think 8-8 was a pretty fair result. I felt like we had some good stuff, some bad stuff, and at the end, the 500 record seemed to be about probably what we were.
The Wildcats concluded their season with back-to-back wins before their series against Purdue Northwest was canceled. The Wildcats season came to an abrupt end due to a positive COVID test, and Coach Majkrzak had to face his biggest challenge yet.
Just having to tell them that your year's over, that was probably the hardest. There also was, all the setbacks last year that we had. We started up practice, got about a week in, and then got shut down again. And that kind of starting and stopping was the hardest part for sure. And just explaining to the guys who, they just want to play, and sometimes they don't get it all, and they don't get all the reasons behind decisions, and so just trying to explain that all to them.
Coach Majkrzak's job is to grow and develop his players into great athletes, but also great people. Entering his fourth year at the Helm, Coach Majkrzak has seen his own growth and development as the leader of the Wildcats.
That was probably a little more X's and O's focused. It was about trying to get our guys to play basketball a certain style, a certain way. And I think maybe partly because we have guys now that are used to how I want things to be. Now it's much more focused on relationships and just how they get along with each other, and even just hanging out with them day in and day out. I think when you first start, you try to build up a little bit of a wall maybe with some of the guys, and now I almost want the opposite. I want them coming in my office. I want them talking about things that have nothing to do with basketball.
Coach Majkrzak is looking for that player to be the leader of the team, but he doesn't pick one. Just like his players in a film session, he just sits back and learns.
I usually look at what the other guys are doing when you ask questions. The players have a really good way of knowing who the leader is, and I think sometimes as coaches you want to pick the leader, but if you ask a question and everybody's looking at someone, that's the leader. Whether you know it at that time or not, you can kind of get a vibe on who everyone's turning to when things get hard, who they're counting on, who they trust, and in some ways I almost feel like the players kind of pick the leader themselves, and it's our job to recognize that.
It isn't hard to recognize that the Wildcats have talent, with veteran players, talented grad transfers, and a stacked recruiting class coming in. With basketball season closing in, we may see the Wildcats cutting down some nets, due in part to a dedicated coach.
Michigan 76, Parkside 75.
Thank you for watching ABC 10 News on YouTube. For the latest Upper Peninsula news, weather, and sports, be sure to subscribe to our channel and like us on our Facebook page.